And we're back again. End of the weekend, back to the work tomorrow. Back at some more prototyping. This is a week. This marks 1 week of working on this game engine from scratch idea. Still having some issues to build up this node system. Node system is working pretty good. The only thing is this will be used for an animation tree and for visual shaders, which I think would be pretty cool. But and I just recently added in video support, so now I can default it. We have to change like some of these default. Like nothing should really be metallic by default. But anyway, your mic sounds very far away. Oh, thank you, thank you. There was an update to the software, and it absolutely. We're gonna up. No. 40. Weird, yeah. Is it the? Oh, there we go. There we go. Now we're a little bit higher. When you say it sounds a bit far away, do you mean like, is it quiet or does it actually sound like staticky or anything? I just put like the gain up to like 42. Actually, the gain is cranked right now as max as it can get. Compressor, all this stuff is on. Okay, it's better now? Okay, excellent. Perfect. Excellent. So today we're working on just like other features. I kind of squirreled. I want to figure out like what it would be like to get an external library into the engine. So I added a video player to any mesh, and so now I can like add a video player, browse for anything that we want to render. All right, so here's a video, and all right, there we go. We have a random video, right, rendered to a texture. And it's kind of neat because we can actually see the preview live of the video playing. And now anything using this particular texture now, we'll be using it for everything. Oh, I turned off my cubes. So anyway, that's video playback working. But we're still having this weird issue with our little chicken dance Mixamo rig. The bones, like a lot of the scene tree hierarchy has been completely improved. Introduced all these nice collapsible, dividers, just more cleanup. More cleanup on buttons, more cleanup on UI elements, more cleanup on the file system, just everything browsing, is a lot more improved. But we need to figure out what's on the go with these guys. So this is like a typical Mixamo animation for dancing that we downloaded. And as far as I'm aware, it isn't a root motion animation. That could be why there's a bit of an issue with it. It's not like an in-place animation. Let me just close out some of this stuff. But as far as I was aware, I'm going to check and just to make sure that we do have an in-place dancing animation. Yeah, a lot of them don't have the in place button anymore. Because I wonder if these are kind of root motion based. We'll download another one just to play around with. Gungam style. We use hip hop one. It's a salsa one. I don't know. Let's just do a run. We can actually use it once we get it working. See, if there's definitely an option for in place, that's good because I know they're based upon a root. So we'll do a binary FBX with skin with no keyframe reduction. And we'll just see what the behavior is like in engine. And, you know, knowing what we know now, we should be able to live load this in. So running, add to the scene. Yeah, so default scale is huge. We need to find a better way of, like, detecting. No bones. Not detecting new bones on this one, though. Oh, no, it is. Mixamo, hips, rig. Oh, probably no. Yeah, well, fine. Let's change out. Hey, it actually found. Whoa. I didn't realize. I forgot the AI was sitting there trying to solve this problem the whole time. Let me close this out. Minimize this. So the revised the root node discovery. So instead of stopping at the first scene root for 0 bones, approach. Yeah, that's fine. So restore the transpose operation. Adjust the mannequin mesh. No, just undo the changes that I made from before. Which is fine. Not really. These are not matching now on this one. Let me just rebuild the shaders real quick. Yeah, I don't know about moving it to the 128 bone capacity. This doesn't solve the problem, and I think 64 bones is fine. So that is not the problem. One of the bones need to be changed. Okay, matches on both bones. Nope, still same issue with the model. That could be the model loader too, like from the changes we made. Yeah, I don't know about this bone index being increased to 128. I don't like this solution either. I'm trying to mainly deal with the Mixamo rigs. Yeah, so surface joints, nothing. Some bones were missing, hip, spine. Yeah. Yeah. How do we? Is there a way? Is ASIMP? have a way of knowing. Let me look at the armature documentation. So when we're loading bone data, do we know what the root is of the armature? Animation overview. SMS support for very basic profiling and time memories are turning it on. Measurements are based on single run of the importer. Excuse me. So transformation, this datagram shows the transformations, and there's no datagram. Thank you. There's nothing here. There's no way in hell this will work, sub. Hey, Univ, how's it going? For thread safety using asset server. What have we done? What are we doing? We're just going through the documentation of ASIMP. We're trying to fix the transformation matrices on the character models. So it needs to match, because of the way skin mesh rendering works, it needs to load in, right, all of the bones. So for Chicken Dance here, because like ASIMP, the problem is like ASIMP itself renames the bones, right? So it puts in like hips, right? It's like ASIMP hips transform. So like this is ASIMP kind of overriding the armature. So they need a match. So like adjustable mannequin match is perfectly fine. So this is vibe coded. Yeah. So you know, as an example, Sunday afternoon, I was in the Godot Discord and we were chatting, and for a challenge we would use just Gemini 3 and just see how far we could get in building a full Vulkan game engine, fully rendered, Jolt support for 3D physics, compute shaders for all of our Bloom, right? And of course there's a lot of architectural things that I personally wanted, so there's a lot of things I copied from Godot as far as like materials and selectors and UI elements, and then, you know, also like, you know, building up, you know, node systems, because we'll need like visual shaders, and we'll need you know, like some more UI stuff like for tab groups and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff here. Like I still designed it, but I designed it through talking to the video card, you know what I mean? Like in my head I have an idea from a game designer's perspective what I need to see. So that's what I'm portraying, right? So what I was working on, you know, earlier, let me just take a break from this real quick, and just let me re-enable. There's some features that it already has, right, that I wanted to have right from the very beginning. So let me show you some of the cool features of what this thing does that other engines don't do, like from implementation perspective. One is like I wanted this thing to be you know, like fully dynamic and have like prefab support. So let's go into my prefabs folder and load in my ship model, right? So here's the ship model, and now I'm gonna hit play, or you know, here we are. Let me go and add to our ship a script. So root of the script. This is a rotator script, right? When I click the rotator script, I get these serialized properties, right? I get some, you know, color, a message, and on play, it rotates the ship. We're going to leave it alone. We're going to let it play. Back in the editor, here in my scripts folder, this is what I want it to be able to do, because this will help the AI and it'll help, you know, me develop quick. So I have a whole scripts system. So here's that rotator. And rotator inherits from an Aurora script. And here's a bit of code. So we're going to take this code for the Aurora, for the rotator script, and we're going to create a univ pm.cs, right? So this is going to be univ pm, and we're going to say, okay, the univ pm script is actually going to rotate them on X instead of Y, right? And it's going to have like some cool color that's going to be like purple, you know, because we're going to use it for something, whatever we want it to be. I don't know if I put call it purple in there, did I? Blue? Fine. And we'll say hi Twitch, right? Hi Twitch. Right, and we would just do on update, on ready, on whatever, and you know, if it's active. Now, all I'm doing is editing this thing. In real time, the engine is detecting and recompiling all of these and reserializing all of these, and I don't even need to stop it. Right, so I want the engine, other than the core, so there's like the core library, and then of course the engine library. Core has to be, the core assemblies had to be built obviously manually because the scripting library references them. But then from that point onward, so now AI could literally be sitting here coming up with all kinds of game code, right? That just, you know, uses, you know, the engine, and it doesn't even need to stop the engine. I could just keep this rotator going, nuke the script. It rebuilds the assembly. We're back to normal. Everything's fine, and I haven't even exited the build, you know? So that I think is important, because that means rapid prototyping, rapid unit test prototype, you know, deploy, test, rescale, resubmit, redeploy, scale, you know, like over and over and over again. So, you know, and in the UI elements, I really like the, you know, I've been working on this library, you know, like for dynamically rendering primitives. Like the whole UI for this thing is obviously just like a layer, right? And all of this is being rendered into glyphs and being rendered into right, little small descriptor sets that are being processed. So when we do some physics stuff, like let's go back into the main engine, because right now it's trying to fix a problem, but so I don't want to mess with it too much. But let me do placeholder. Yeah, so let me load the placeholder scene. Yeah, so let me turn on the physics objects for physics testing. Show you some of the cool stuff we can do with this thing. So if we go here now and we load, you know, our test scene, right? So we have, like, here we have all of our physics objects. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and just to kind of, you know, I'm going to create a new, another plane, because I want this default material, the one that's built into the engine. On this plane, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a video player, which is kind of a weird concept, but this video player is going to drive a render texture. So you'll see what I mean. So we're going to go and create. We're going to take this video and we're going to play it, and we're literally playing. This is an FFmpeg integration that we did. So now let me just change this to be like maybe less white. So this is playing, right, and feeding into a render texture. But hey, where's that render texture going? Well, it's the default render texture, right? There's 2,500 to the power of 6 videos playing in the scene right now. But hey, you know what? This is the Jolt physics engine. So I mean, all of this is all, you know, physics objects. Oh, hang on, I gotta replay it because of when I resize the build, it rebuilds the pipe chain right now, and it doesn't keep into account the materials. So let me just really quickly stop and play the, yeah, gonna be pain to bum. Let me just re-add that real quick. Well, 2,500 grids, and there's a face per grid, right? Let me just re-add a video player, pick the MP3, select it, hit play. There we go. And you know what? Let's add a particle system to one of them. Why not? And now let's run the simulation. So now there's 25. Now that video is playing on every single one of those cubes that are all interacting with physics, all in real time. Oh, I should have made, hang on, let me make this material less. And I can see the video right here in the inspector. Times 6, yeah, times 6. That's what I mean. That did a power. That would be crazy. Let me just put this back to 1. There we go. You don't need to be metallic. Good. Anyway, so now, like, you know, we have all of our little videos. Not that you would need that, but this was just a proof of concept, because I want it to be able to eventually have a load of yeah, it says Jolt, you know, the Jolt physics engine, same one Godot is using doing its thing. So a lot of things you can just leverage, you know, Jolt. It has a nice kinematic character body. So that's what I was working on earlier. I wanted to get some universal video support. So anything FFmpeg can do, you know, like have the engine do, that seems to be something that could be useful, especially for like billboards and cool like sci-fi ads and stuff in the background of the engine. But, you know, my hope was by the end of the weekend, you know, I could get to the point where we could do an animation tree. My hope was once we get the animations loading, then we can, you know, load all of the animations into an array in an animation player, or animation tree. I think they would all come like one abstract system, you know, and then in, you know, the animation tree, we could select the animations and do all of our blending and stuff and just make it very similar to like Godot's animation tree, and, you know, because it's just really just blending the quaternions of all the bones, right? Depending, or overriding, you know, the influence of those blending on specific bone layers, right? IK is really easy to do once you have, you know, the armatures working, which is working now, but obviously something, you know, like if I rotate the splines here, you can see all the, you know, it is skinned mesh rendering, so we are getting the bends. So IK would look good as an animation override. So that's like, you know, so like this is not meant to be a, you know, a full, you know, thing. Like we have no idea where this will go. But the fact that, you know, I can spend a week working on it and get to this point and, you know, get audio working and video working and some sounds and stuff, it's pretty impressive, you know. Right, and it doesn't need a lot more to be usable. Like I've already created like a little character body, like player controller for running around, and right, it has a camera system. So if I could get it to a point where I can demonstrate like just maybe like a first-person character controller in like a gray box or like a white box test room, I think that'd be pretty cool. And then I think what I would probably do is port some of the synchronizer and spawner scripts from Godot. But like with changes that I want to make, because there's things I hate about them, but I just don't know how to change them on the C++ side because I'm old and I don't have the C++ experience anymore, you know. I'd rather tame the garbage collector in C# when I have to, you know, than go that low level. I don't think it's necessary. Something weird about the original, like there's something weird about the original Bones now. Like bones are matching. I don't like. That's why I want to. Anyway, let's go back to doing what we were doing, which was checking the documentation, because that's the ultimate source of truth to anything. Right. I don't know why Asimp is actually renaming the bones. Is the weird thing. That's what I don't understand about the animation transforms. There's like no documentation here whatsoever. Blender importer is depreciated. How to access shaders, profiling. Asimp provides self-contained re-implementation of Blender's so-called SDNA system notes on it. It allows Blender to be fully backwards and forward compatible for blend formats. The Blender loader does not support animations, but The Ogre importer is currently optimized for Blender Ogre exports, but that's the only one that I use. Yeah, I wonder how old this library is getting. Oh, can you implement recursive ray tracing with depth limit to ensure light paths remain mathematically accurate? I have no idea. Especially, like, I need you to clip the Avaleg viewing fulcrum to the mirror plane so the reflections spatially, fidelity perfectly match the observer's perspective. How's it going, Larry? The TLDR is probably no. But we would like to do like a very interesting ray traced global illumination. So that was something that like myself and Antics were looking at. Like if you had think if you had a volume, you know, like a volume that has really low resolution points. You know what I mean? And those points are obviously colors. So like a light map, you know, like global illumination system. But instead of having to bake it, you would use ray tracing to just calculate the value of those light probes in runtime, right? And then those light probes then will be used to help tell a screen space solution what is behind, you know, the objects in screen space. So they know like how light would bounce around an object that they obviously can't see. So it would be like a hybrid system, but it would be dynamic instead of having to be baked. Because like others, like voxel GI, you have to kind of bake, you know, the voxels. It's kind of like a light map, but instead of writing to the UV2, it like writes it to this volume of data, like 1 meter apart, or whatever the resolution you set it to be. And it'd be cool if you could use ray tracing, not for like ray tracing, but just to be able to kind of on the fly calculate all of these. When I use AI to create like basic nodes and bake it as the recaps of all created outline map. Use AI to create basic nodes and bake it as the recaps. Oh, as the recipes are all created online for the math and design. Can't time. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, it's scary that this hasn't actually been updated in a long time. At least this variation of it. It's like, it's still trying to solve the problem of it not matching. Obviously, we're using fallback to reflect the reflection matrix native scale, which decomposes fall off. For what? The bones? Subsystem mode. That's fine. Scale is fine, unless we're trying to auto scale it to a normalized 1. What's its origin? Is the distance between its bone origin to itself the same as the offset? Right, because the issue is I think just the animation tracks aren't aligning to their bones. And so they're just kind of, the bones are broken because of the import. And I feel like, you know, just by looking, like all the ones for my main model seem to be fine. But the ones that came in from Riximo seems to have this really weird naming convention where it adds in this Well, like, yeah, why the underscore, you know, random? Need like a better way of copying these things. Right? It's weird. No rotation extraction will be reflected when a matrix is complete. So like setting scale is not a problem. This is the same. What did it even change here? M11 to 21, 33, 32, 30, 22, 12. That's literally the same code. It's like it's able to match by bones and then it breaks. Yeah, this one's bone naming conventions across different characters. Example, like both have hips. I have a plan. Yeah, because if it can just tell, because it's going through it as like an object in its own kind of scene, like because it's using the GLB importer, like of ASIN. But I need it to detect the armature root, like to automatically determine the armature root. And as long as we don't have a concept like all meshes are hashes, or they're hashed. They're not just hashed by their name. They're hashed by like a hash of themselves. So it shouldn't matter if there's duplicate meshes. Like one should not be affecting the other in any way. But I do like this recursion search trying to find all these bone names by hierarchy is just failing and being dumb. But the weirder thing is the animations themselves that are embedded in the GLB, when they get imported, they must match the bone naming convention. Fallback matrices for mirrors. If we're mirroring, yeah. Primitive rotation extraction for mirror. If the object's mirror, it shouldn't be mirrored. Nice try though, but I don't think that matters. Normalizing the scale is a good thing, but right? Like no matter what, it's still doing it. I need a better way of visualizing the animation data. That's what we really need. We need like an animation viewer to pull the animations from the asset assembly and take a look at them in a table. We need a table view. That's what we need. That's what the next UI to make would be just a table. So we can kind of visualize. We'll just kind of build up a tool to help us with the problem pretty much, and then we can view the positions of these things, like an animation visualizer. So then we know if it's like if it actually is going to be the animation bone names that are actually mismatching, or if they're just mismatching on the data. What do we do? Hang on, what's this thing? 28 changes where? I don't see 28 changes. It's given up on that idea. That's fine. It's determining that it actually is a rotation. It's a mirrored rotation in the GLB. I don't think so. And this attempt one. No. If this fails, we'll just, like I said, we can just undo the whole changes. Because I don't think there's really a need to change the shaders. They go to like 128 bone indexes for basic skeleton animation rigs. I don't think that matters. I think we're running out of bones, and that's why the animations look bad. Like, that's not the problem, right? It's probably not harming, but since we made the shader change, the model also isn't working. So, and I don't like this name match either. Yeah. Anyway, while that stopped, off the cubes. Anything different with that animation this time? No. Like, it looks so good. It's just like it's like in Godot, right? When you go into Godot and you import a mixable animation, and you don't have a default pose, you don't have a rest pose to reference the quatern, like the bones against, you get this weird offset in the animation, which is behavior that we're kind of, we're seeing here. I just want to load in another version of that model real quick. Okay, yeah, so it is hierarchy, yep, fine. I'm gonna let it go and see what it discovers, but we need to also we need to figure out what. So is this just a wrapper for ASIP itself? Hi.
Hi, are you doing a streamy thing?
Yep.
Yeah, can you come here for a second?
Yep, just give me 1 second. Has the AI solved world hunger yet? No. Where were we importing? Right, as we watch here. Right, we want to find the skeleton. If we know the skeleton, we know the the root of the skeleton. I think what we want to do is like be able to mark the bone, like the game object type, right, as a bone or an armature. Like we need to know like where the armature is defined, and if we select the armature, we can just have a tool. You know what I mean? That'll be like, hey, if this thing has bones, view the animation data. Right, because it's just using bones, skeleton bones, an array. Good evening. How goes it? Hey, Bix, how's it going? Goes good. We're vibe coding. This is day 6 or 7 of actually working on this little vibe coded game engine that we're calling Aurora. And so we're doing some UI, making some changes, trying to fix a bug with our skin mesh rendering. So we're just pretty much using ASIMP to load in models from Mixamo. And what we're trying to solve is just getting these working. About to make some ramen, trying to chill for a bit. Hell yeah. Right? Because so like since like yesterday's stream got a lot of UI elements now in place, got a graph system which we're going to use for visual shaders and for what'll be the animation tray. So animation tray, visual shaders, some more UI things for tabs. So I have everything I think on the UI side. I went and looked at that place that my mate and May end up renting today. Oh, cool. Awesome. Yeah, renting sucks right now, man. Like the market for everything, homes, like everything is getting crazy expensive. So we need a table. We need to render a table. Let's I think like this will be the first time the AI is really getting stuck on this because it doesn't understand the context of like what we're actually loading and where the problem is. And the problem is that it is loading the bones okay. The animations aren't matching. Its animation system, like I said, pretty basic, and it's it's trying chicken quaternions, trying to solve the problem from like, oh, maybe it's a bone rotation position, but that's not the. It's surprisingly nice. My only and main concern that was pretty far from the nearest bus stop. Oh, that sucks. It either sucks or you'll be in shape. You know what I mean? How far away is it? 2 blocks is probably not that bad. I don't know. In a snowstorm, it could be pretty rough. So we're gonna let this do its thing. We're gonna plan like how we would like to visualize animations. We're gonna go down and take a look at how Godot's animation player visualizations work. We don't need any keyframing. We're not going to be like the goal or the scope of this engine is do things in other tools. So, you know, because I really just want to be able to list the tracks. Yeah, so maybe we just want to list, but I do want to. Second, adding a 3D node to makes total sense, but. Oh, so the variant type. Okay, so it's a variant type of anything in the animation player. So it's not necessarily extremely clear which animation names. And for like, let's go back into Unforgiven systems. I do a lot of walking anyways, but I'm heavy stuff. But yeah, like heavy stuff, 2 blocks. Lifting stuff, heavy, two blocks feels like a drag on forever. Yeah, need a nice book bag. Let's go into the Unforgiven systems. Yeah, whenever you're using AI, it's funny. Like the issues that need to be solved are not always AI problems. They're mostly they're also system problems, you know. So what I'm looking for, I want to see what the animation, or what the skeletal visualizer is for the project. So they do a hierarchy like this, and then if I select any bone, we get our position. So instead of relying on the hierarchy, if we know that it's an armature, so we need to define whether it's an armature or not, we could have an armature inspector, right? Which can help us kind of go through without having to go through, because technically, in my engine so far, the whole skeleton isn't like encapsulated. You know what I mean? Which is not a bad thing. This is you know, right? Because there's no difference between a bone and a node that happens to have a position and rotation and scale. But because I'm thinking it's the rest, right? That's the problem, because this is more of a data related to a bone and not a game object. And then for the animation player, so what I wanted to see is a list like this of all of the bones. And yeah, like all of this doesn't have, because this is all baked. There's just way too many keyframes. Like a lot of that could be completely, you know, updated. Because that's one thing AI is good at, is generating UIs for things. Right, in the animation tree system, this will be very, very, very easy to make. I guess I could take some type of folding cart Then I could like fold it, take less space on the bust, and unfold it when I'm getting stuff there easier. Yep. Do you have like a lot of delivery services that are free? Like I know here we have like Sobeys, and I don't know if Walmart has it, but I think Dominion and Sobeys. Some of them have like delivery similar to DoorDash, but a little bit more cheaper, a little bit more affordable. Like Voila or something was the Canadian version of one of them. Oh, it's here waiting for me to finish doing what I'm doing. It's like, hey, I need your output. Give me the output. It's not called base rig in the actual base rig is the model, right? Like creating a key. I think a hash of the bones would be better too. There's no Walmart for like over $100 a year. There's Walmart for over 100 like $100 a year, but then more unlimited income Walmart often isn't the best price. Gotcha. I don't get why this is failing now. Like, stop what it's doing. The main reason I ever went to check the place out is that between my mate and I, we would be saving like $200 a month in rent. Yeah, that's probably worth it. I use the washroom. I'll be right back. Oh, I just realized my OBS mini crashed. Thanks. How long that's been closed. Be right back. Yeah, see, so there's... Why does it put this in here? Right, like this, here's the problem right here. Right, this asint FBX designation. That's what it's loading right now. This imagine. And it's not doing a mirrored mode. It's so determined that we're like rendering a mirrored mode where the armature is like fine. Yeah, that's fine. Use a cleaner termination calculation for the... No, doesn't need it. Ooh, Elite Dangerous. Right, you're just proving a theory that we kind of already know. See, we don't get that weird issue when we're doing our GLB. Right? We get all of our bones. Like, these are rigified bones. But these are like adjacent bones. You know, there's a twist constraint. And I wonder if these twist constraints are the problem, right? Because it's only on whenever we have like a wrist or something or an arm, and then there's left hand ring. There's like a twist. There's a pre-rotation here, extra bone for each of these. For each of these, like pinkies, pinky one, like we shouldn't need these. There should only be one rig. And if it happens, let's see, like left toe, yeah, especially on the leg, because it's these ones here that are kind of not animating. Right? Because leg is fine, or upper leg, but then we get into the... We're onto something. Are you dull on coding the entire engine, or do you make use of the open source stuff as well? Like, I happen to know there's some open stuff render engines full on. I don't really need a render engine for anything. I mean, the rendering, like, utilizing Vulkan's complicated, but once implemented, not too bad. We're not switching, you know, from Godot or anything. If you know what I mean. This is more of an exercise. Because no matter what render engine we use, this is still a problem that we're going to run into, which is loading a model. You know what I mean? Loading a model and extracting animation data from it has nothing to do with rendering ultimately. Like we kind of got the we got the rendering kind of down, just not getting the not getting the animations working. And I think it's a model loading problem, and we need to confirm it. It'll confirm it eventually because it'll go through the process of order of elimination. But I'm gonna give it a little while, then I'm gonna nuke it. You know, I'm gonna nuke all the changes that it made to all shaders, and then we're going to continue by building an animation viewer so we can see what it's seeing without having to go and, like, you know, console log all this stuff, because that's what it's doing when we're loading, right? It only wants me to load, so I'm just going to load and quit it again. Because what it's trying to do is kind of build up this bone hierarchy. I don't know. It's so like stuck on this like left hand mode, trying to see if it's like, and I've never seen that. Let's do you can get the unit scale from the XBX file by using get unit scale. Then you should be able to calculate the correct scaling for your model. I use the following code to retrieve the scale unit. It might be nice to actually get the scale unit. You get a copy of the unit scale as a double. The metadata API can be used to access the scale in C++. Validate data structure. So in the metadata, we're looking for expect double, so unit scale factor. Factor times 2, you can set it or you can get it. This will not get corrupted when the importer gets destroyed, but the metadata will be released, so you have to cache the upscale. I've seen this guy. Oh, okay, he's the guy that works at Asset. Okay, cool. That makes sense. Because fixing the scale of the model might be the problem as well. Yeah, you don't want to reinvent the wheel. Every single thing I'm using is a library. Right, the model loader is ASIMP. The sound is like OpenAI or AAL. Right, the input's an input library. Engines are mostly just glue, right? What it's doing is it's going through and just looking at the importer and pulling flags to see if it's one of these issues. It's just testing all the different possible model loader flags that could appear, because it's finding the bones. It's just, but that's the issue. It's with a weird name. It's like, is there a suspicious scale? Because if the bones were actually like scaled so far down to be like 0.1 or whatever, then none of the animations would work. There's also custom game engines that were made because the developers needed the engine with support for something extremely niche, like the devs of Nodia, where they needed to treat every pixel as a particle. Yeah, the game is so cool. I'd like to do some really interesting spacescaping, with some volumetric nebulas and stuff, which are all in the domain of, mostly compute shaders and GLSL, so they don't really matter which engine you use to kind of do it, because it's going to be the same, kind of shaders anyway. And it'd be really cool to do it in your own engine or do it in your own framework where you have a bit more control over it. Like, the cool thing about this project so far, from what I've seen, is I don't need to do any 2D, because the games I would build would never be 2D, so it doesn't need, if you were to compare it to Godot, every single blue node 2D would go, right? Because we don't need it. So it's just what do we need, right? We need all the different mesh primitives. We need asset loading. We need animations. We need animation trees, right, for blending and layering. I really like Unity's layering system for animations. And then once that's solved, because code is pretty much solved, you can script this. It's it would just be then rendering, doing really cool stuff with the post processing, and trying to solve some things different types of global illumination. The game is just going to be my own game will only ever be a space game. I'd like to find ways of building debris and building I don't know, just stuff that are really akin to space. wait. It found a problem. So the shoulder bone scale is 1, 1. Oh no, that's fine. I was like, yes, it's like some 0.000, but it's just a fraction, just rounding error. It's just 1, 1, 1. It's fine. No problems. I'm learning Godot and Blender for my current project because I need better 3D support. Well, I could have found a way to make other game engines. I tried to make it work way too janky for my project, which is supposed to have a certain level of jank to it. Yeah, Godot's fantastic. Now we're going to look for a weird matrix. Was there one? See, it's writing test code now, right? It's going through just every time. It's like, hey, for each bone, I want to get an idea of what this bone is doing. Like, what is the scale, right? Where is something going wrong with this? And it's trying. It's not finding anything wrong. It's, not a problem. I like observing how it fixes things, how it reads files, how it builds context. It's really interesting. I was originally trying to make the project in GDevelop, but when the engine was too janky for my project, needs a certain level of jank. That's really says something. It's like a physics engine or a physics type game. See, there's no delta. Right, it's gone through every test imaginable of trying to figure out like why the armatures are not loading correctly, or they're not what they should be. An FBX format is such a pain in general. And it's reached its point at which we terminate. So I want it to finish doing what it's doing, like for this test, because it just proves that it's loading okay. Uses no physics so far. The player doesn't even collide with walls. I just do checks if the ray is colliding with the wall, and then it's like the player can't move in that direction. I gotcha. I do not have the local matrix. Need to pull. Thank you. Yeah, this is cool. Okay, so world determinant parent. See, now when it's going through these now, it's skipping all the ones that had that weird ASIMP naming convention. Interesting, okay. Because this looks normal. And even though the model itself is scaled, like the model is like 100 units, and we have the scale and the 0.01 because it was made in like whatever engine, you know, something that's not a meter scale. All the animations relative to the skeleton should all be perfect, right? Which they are, right? Every one of these bones are scale of 1. So there's like nothing crazy. What are we doing here now? Right? Just attempting to force it to be 1, 0. Oh, if it is just... Okay, I gotcha. Try to fix it. Is it giving up yet? Come on. Give up on your bone attempts. You have found no issues. My main problem with G develop, and the reason why I use it in 3D is it requires a cube-shaped. Why does G develop? You couldn't use it. It requires a cube-shaped player collider, and it doesn't work well with the dungeon crawler. Where the hallways and walls are like cube-shaped, forces the player to back away in order to turn. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. That makes total sense. It's like you can keep making like it's so like determined to figure out like what's up with this thing. It's like you're not gonna. It should just make it like load the default scene by default. Okay, so now it's picking up these other ones, the ones that were causing trouble. GDevelop is an open source game engine with visual scripting. It competes mostly directly with Construct 3. Oh, cool. Oh, we're locked up. Yeah, we're dead. Yeah, it took animations and bones to kill it. Reopen it. Thank you. Alright, I'm gonna say like yeah, I think we're just gonna you can discard it all. I know. Discard all changes. We learned a lot. Yeah, we'll be back to where we were. Oh, that said, hang on, I will need to rebuild my shaders. Okay. So when we reload the test scene, okay, we hit play, doesn't work. But this is as close as we got. We know the armature is working. Right, we can go into spine too. Okay, so we got weighted bones. The bones are working. They're detecting as bones. But we know on this one, it's not actually running the animation. But I think the bones are fine. I think it's just more of an animation problem. So we want to find we want to approach this from a different angle. They're giving the free tier a 1 net build per day limit, so I use it to get around that by setting up self builds for testing. Then I use the 1 net build to get a signed executable. Oh, cool. So we're going to kind of like step back. Let's go 16 and 9 here. So we're gonna like so we need a plan here. We're gonna plan a way around this, right? So when importing a model. We need a way to define that the object created when importing is a skeleton or a bone. We have basic animation support. We need a UI. So we'll see a UI window. Where if we have selected a valid game object which has a animation or armature, show more detailed info about the animation, targets, and their positionings. So we're like just a custom floating UI that kind of works like an inspector, but an inspector for a specific use case. And we just approach this from the UI perspective, just so we can kind of start visualizing it. And we'll see ourselves where the where the problem's going to lie. Workarounds like that are great. They also don't like us taking it to splash screen as free users, which would be a problem if it didn't clash with the lower resolution pixel art of my. So my compromise there is to remove it since it's open source, and then add back in like a low resolution logo or a splash screen of it. Oh, cool. Yeah, because we have like a new conversation, now it's got to go through the UI and edit the UI. Because we need to like go into the animation system. Yeah, because where are we storing the animation clip? On the game object. Yeah, it's on the game object. But we could do just an inspector for the animation clip. And how does ASMP even? So name, duration, and then the channels. Channels have our list of positions, rotation keys, and scales with the node name. So add a game object role enum to the role property of the game object. Distinguish between the default mesh skeleton and bone. Sure. Could be game object type instead of role. Update the load monitor to pre-scan meshes for bone names and code. Identify the skeleton root node. Modify process node and model loader to assign the appropriate skeleton role. Then here's some UI window to display the animation clips, bone list, real-time world positions. Register the new animation window in the editor UI. Adding it to the editor. Enhance the option A, mark the topmost ancestor of all bones as the skeleton. That's true. If there's any mesh that has bone data, use option A. That's fine. I've been liking Godot for my current project. Shame they decided to kill a bunch of the good when they had. Oh yeah, with the Twitch thing. Yeah, I don't think it did too much damage. I also don't think like Redo or Blazium. I'm not sure how much traction those other forks have really gotten. But the drama was just bad, regardless of what the political, regardless of what your political opinion is of Godot. If there is any drama at all, and it becomes like a gamer consensus of, oh no, if you're using Godot, the thing is woke or not woke, or like I said, that doesn't really matter. All that matters to a game designer or game developer is its very poor taste if like you wake up one day and all of a sudden there's this big anti-Godot thing, and like any games that are made by Godot are all of a sudden being like review bombed or something, and you did nothing. You know what I mean? Like it's not your fault of your own. Just engine, right? Like the engine is just a tool and should just be a tool. It shouldn't really have any form of a political opinion, really. But that whole thing was kind of crazy. I like this, but I think game object type be a better naming convention. Because ideally, you want to turn these into like an ECS thing. The worst was that they were like making a big stink out of the one of their donators. Yeah. Let's see what we say. So this is fine. Yep. So updated plans for a game object type property adds dedicated animation armature window. So the mod loader for ASM, do the research for UI and UI editor, verify. Update the mod loader to pre-scan initiatives for the type, rate the Aurora. Future consider states for skeleton detection UI interactivity. The window will focus on playback only. Glitchy imports. Animation window should also show a filtered tree. Correct. Yep. Use the tree system we already have to show the skeleton, show the armature hierarchy, and have a few vector 3 fields below for metadata or position, and then as well as metadata. And I think this will create a really nice debug tool. Was that the person statements had nothing to do with politics, but they tried to make it about that. Yeah. I remember. It was crazy. I am really looking forward to 4.6 though. I think 4.6 is gonna rock. Having the IK system back in its fully, you know what I mean, like functioning form is gonna be cool. It's gonna be neat. So like for all this like implementation, like we've gone through planning. It's got a plan. It's not going to run into any limitations because this is everything that's already there. Which system? Oh, for which context? Oh, so let me show you. So in 4.6, we're getting back IK. I mean, so skeletal IK 3Ds, which were depreciated, are going to be returned. And look what they can do, right? So we already have now the look at modifier 3D, but these are part of the skeleton modifier 3D, right? This was one of the first nodes that inherited it, right? And you see here's a multi-bone constraint we'll look at. So like the chest is actually like rotating partially in between these. And then we have everything like a retargeted modifier 3D. We have spring bone simulator 3D, right? We have so much stuff here. These are all the classes that I needed to re-implement the Unity system that I had. You know what I mean? Like this is super cool. Like in Unity, my character could grab like bottles and hold on to them, and like interact with them, and it made like, you know, the experience, and it made NPC animations and stuff really awesome. Right? So you have like deterministic IK. So you can blend, you know what I mean? Like into like certain IK nodes, but everything's so much better. These are all of the IK nodes. And all of these things had to be in place for it to be finished. So this stuff's cool. Because IK costs a bit of CPU, but what you're getting in return is, you know, dynamic animations. And then that saves you so much effort. Like if you can just run but IK your weapon, then you're just holding the weapon. You know what I mean? Like you don't need an animation for that. You can just use IK. And it's, yeah, super cool. So watch it go. So I've done a lot of work here getting this thing ready. When this is done, it's going to make all these changes. It's going to develop a really nice animation window. The animation window is going to pretty much, I might have to like re-save out my prefabs for this because I think the save scenes are probably going to change the format. But I should be able to load in my characters, select, you know what I mean, the character itself, bring up this window, and we should see a tree of all the bones, and we should be able to select the bones and get like all our transform information, so we can debug the bones from a literal sense, right? Because we, you know, the AI will never know if the animation was correct because it doesn't know what the animation is. You know what I mean? The animation is a dancing animation. It doesn't know that. You know what I mean? Like it can't know, especially from a file format it can't read. Like what the expectation is. It just knows like, hey, you know, I made your animation animate, but it has no ability, right? So that's where the problem lies. It's not like it's AI failing in this case. It's you know, it's like, I don't know why this animation is broken, and I can't help you. You know what I mean? Like it could be anything. It could be the bones. It could be the animation. See, now that we're kind of back, everything is. Wait, why did that rotate from before? I don't remember rotating that guy and leaving him, but maybe I was playing with him. Well, I gotta go make some ramen and see if I can't find some anime to watch while I eat. What anime do you watch? Because I think animation window, super useful, easy to scale. Same guy, like all this is fine. And all we have to do is, as it's implementing these changes, we had to review every change it's making to make sure nothing's out of scope, that nothing's complicated. There's definitely like stuff in this update function that absolutely needs to be cleaned up from all these if statements, but those are very easy to flag and add as a to-do for myself to do. So it just did it. It apparently has finished the changes according to itself, like that fast. You know, 200 lines, right, across the whole system. Lots of files created. Right, we have our animation window. We can now run it. Load in our dissing. Select our armature. And we're looking for the animation window. Oh. So I'm not seeing the whole hierarchy. We're seeing it's trying to do, but it's not using the tree class correctly. Right. So like we should just be able to select for like the chicken. You know what I mean? Like here's the armature hierarchy, but it's not using the yeah, it's just like it is actually like giving us the position. Yeah. It was close. It was close. It was close. So armature. Yeah, so it knows there is one. And it does show the clip. Hang on. So it does show the clip. And it does give me control over the clip. Oh, cool. It actually does give me control over the current playing animation. That's awesome. Pause and play don't work, but this is actually accurately... Oh yeah, cool. So I can control it. And now I wonder if this will allow us to see the, you know, the actual bones in real time for if they're live or not. Yeah, because this is actually not using the tree, so we just need to tell it, hey, use the... it's close. I would say if you're looking for a good slow watch, I can highly recommend the episode of Miss Koenzumi's Loves Ramen. Noodles every time you eat a bowl. That's what I did while finishing that anime. Oh, IPO, man. I still get trauma from Fullmetal Alchemist. Edward. Expansion. Let's use the hash set based expansion and tracking for the hierarchy. Icon support. Okay. This will allow you to fully inspect the armature selected node and familiar. Okay, good. Build, because it needs to do a descriptor set for it, and it needs to make sure it's disposing of the descriptor set. So fix that error real quick. Mr. Red, Learning Coffee, I'm a fan of Clonid. I never even heard of that anime. What are you guys doing? AI finally had a problem, and we have to fix it using logic. And it's with this animation system, pretty much. So we needed a way to be able to just select anything that has an animation and be able to view, you know, what that animation is. So like, it detects a clip, and we can actually see the clip playing, and we can control the clip. Ignore all the physics objects here. Hello, thank you. So I can go like, you know, forward and back, and it shows the state as it's kind of looping. So we know that there's an armature. We know that there's a, and this is supposed to be showing us the runtime of each of the bones in real time, so we can see what they're doing. But this hierarchy is supposed to be expandable. Right, instead you can kind of click your way down through it, which is fine, but not... Yeah, we're not getting the live update. Slightly missing the point. You have alerts disabled? I'm not sure. I don't think so. Watching you communicate with the clankers, creating an engine. What do you think we're doing? Yeah, exactly. We're communicating with the clankers, man. The Oh, you just said it's Twitch Prime? I'm not sure. I thought it was... Did you see the notification come up at all? It's been so long, I'm not sure if I have the... alerts. They're there. Alluring Coffee just resubbed for their 32 months, so it's working. Doesn't have any of the effects on it anymore, unless the overlay is not showing up on the screen. Animation window, so okay, it's still three. It's like you had one job: build the animation armature window that shows all of them. Like, has bones in the tree, draw the bone node. There you go. Yep, you can get rid of all this crap. We also need to make sure, like, maybe, you know, that the game, like, we haven't really checked the game type either, or the game object type. We need to actually put the game object type in the inspector. Okay, so that works, but I also want it to be fully auto-expanded. And when I select one of the bones, we don't. Yeah, we're close here. Don't click through the window. Yeah, so don't click through the window. And auto-expand all nodes by default. And then we got ourselves a visualizer. Can you not hear me at all? I've answered a bunch of times that we're building a debug UI for the animations because the animations are still not working. And the UI has failed, or the AI has failed to, like, the AI doesn't understand what the expectation is of the animation because it doesn't know what the animation is. It can't tell if it's dancing or running or... Add more features, it's just buttons to collapse, unfold. Put up like with Blender, holding the mouse cursor down in the hierarchy, let you just like unfold them on demand. Because we're just gonna like kind of make them liquidos, right? Yeah, so we're just gonna, and we're also adding a little guard on if we're over. Make sure that we're not actually like clicking through them. Perfect. This is good. This is fine if we're over tabs. Close. What do we do? Oh, okay. Keep. What did it do? Oh, it broke the class. Okay, thanks. It's like just getting these animations working well would be super. Okay, I still need to be able to drag around the window, even when I'm over it. Now, if we could observe these. Good. So it is actually guarding me from clicking through now, which is lovely. Because before, I would be clicking on stuff, on any of the UI elements, and they would be like absolutely so annoying. Good, good, good. So there's still, I still can't drag around this UI. See, this is lovely. This is what I want. I want to be able to just do this, but for some reason, okay, perfect. Can't drag the animation window or around or scroll in. All other windows work. Like it should be inheriting UI window. Well, it said loud and clear. We just had the memory of a goldfish, and I need to constantly remind us to prevent clicking to the window. We already did that. Oh, are we consuming? Oh, we were doing it individually. Man, we could just. Thank you. Do not consume my click, please. We're experimenting, we're fixing things for science. It works. Okay, so we can actually see the hips moving. This window needs to be a lot bigger. So we can at least kind of debug what the expectation is for the bones. Right, because the ones that are broken won't be being updated. You can make it a scroll left to right. Because see, like this, all of these nodes here, like this translation and pre-rotation, are not being driven by the animation system. So we have these weird extra bones that actually do have a position, right? That's not supposed to, right? And I can control these now in here, right? Like this shouldn't have a position, right? Or a pre-rotation at all. The hip should be where the hips are now, which means that some of these, right, like why is there this random spine, right? Its position is relative to origin, its parent, but yet, like, you know, we just got this weird X, right, that shouldn't be there. And then finally, for spine 2, we're actually, you know, we should be moving the neck and the head. We're getting like nothing, right? Like, it's not, it's only moving because its children are moving. So I wish we could get rid of this pre-rotation crap. So I really need to research like FBX importing in itself, because we have all these issues when we're dealing with Blender and Godot and everything. I just want to see like where, like, you know, like where things are actually correctly being updated, where things aren't. Because this upper leg should actually be animated, but it's not. Look at how many, like this is finally where the lag is for left leg. and I'm not seeing anything on it. The only thing I'm actually seeing is like hips that are moving. Okay. Oh, so we do so scroll UI should actually handle left and right as well. So game object inspector, begin a scroll box. So the scroll box needs an option to expand on both sides. Hmm. I'll make a different one for it. Alluring, you have wasted 32 months of your life on this channel. All of the crazy ideas. Also, when are you getting Arc Raiders? Oh, it's a scroll area. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, and then update the bow, the animation, window, bone list. Use scroll area instead. See how well it works. I don't want to use it for the inspector or for the hierarchy because it'll mess with the calling. I thought Arc Raiders would be a fad, but I guess not. Maybe next month if people are devoted to it. Nice. See, it's so interesting, right? Because in cases like this where it already has a context, like creating a scroll area version of something you already created, right? Like, you know, sitting there writing 300 lines of code would take a long time. But then, like, there's times where it just stalls for a while, you know, and it just sucks. But look at this. Like, this is, oh, no, no. Works great this way. Does not scroll everything left to right. So it's not perfect yet. Good this way. Yep, so it needs to anchor the content. Which is an easy fix. And then we have a scroll area, which is great. Good addition. And then we need to like just expand the UI element. Don't each scroll offset, never use scroll offset. Give it a test. Because we need these things anyway, like all these different elements. Yeah, I really hate all these mixed mode. Like, look at how many like bones, man, is in this tree. You know what I mean? Like right leg up, leg up, leg up, rotate. Like, holy crap! Right toe base, rotate, right toe base. Right, left leg up. Right, just crazy. And finally, like all of these are just transforms. This is the toe. Right, toe in to toe. This should just be under the toe, right? These should be removed. So we need to import all these pre-translations. This needs to go away. This needs to happen when we are importing. I don't know why it's got to be an FBX thing. Maybe we need a different like import library, but after this, we'll leave it here. We'll get this UI window working well, or the animation window, and then we'll raise someone. See, I don't see any of this being driven by any of the animations, which is crazy. Only hips. So we need another one. So that's the bones, and now we want one for the actual animation itself. Like we want to visualize the clip, because if the clip bone name doesn't match, then we know where the problem is. Create a tab so we can also pull the animation clip. So we're looking for, let me just give it some context, because then we have everything we need. So we need, right, so the animation system. So they should have a clip, right? The clip has channels, right? And then the channels have a node name, right? So we want to, so if you pull the animation clip, you should be able to iterate over the channels and display a list of the node names. I don't want to build it like a table right now. I just want the just node names. Yeah, just to see if they match. Let's see if they match. So I create a tab for the animation clips. Let's pull the animation clip. Iterate over the channels. And it'll be a tab group in the animation. Okay. And that'll be the last thing we do. Because then we can view all the bones in real time, and we can also view the animation channel data. And if we get a bone mismatch, on them, then we know it's a problem. And as I, increase the animation system itself, we could do the checks and balances there, similar to what Godot does. Okay, so we're gonna let go. Perfect. It's like we were only storing like the single animation clip in the actual animation when we were loading them, but now we'll actually push it into the list. That'll make sense. That'll make things more organized. Ideally, I'm gonna remove these off of the game object and put them into their component, but that'll be later once everything is working. Because then we can list all the animation clips detected. I don't know why, Mixamo always shows up like in the animation clip name, even though it does have a sub name. I think it's just advertisement. Just verifying that we're good. Skeletons are good. Mod loader is good. Going to create a build output file. It's going to ask me next to run it. Just going to run it while I'm waiting for it. I get ahead of what you want. Match, 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 match. Yeah, right. So here's the selected clips. I don't know what I didn't want. Oh my god, AI! I didn't want the actual clip to be a tab, but I'm glad you're matching. It's like here's the issue. Like we're matching. Like, this is the animations that we want to drive with this channel for the clip, but yet right? They match. Lol, that's so funny. It's like it did it correct, but not really. Close. What is this? Counting the atmosphere. What game is this? So let us melt. There we go. That's what we wanted. Much better. Because like instead of solving the problem like right now, just create systems right that'll help us even in the future kind of just solve this. Right, it's still how you have one job. It's armature, and then it's lol. That's funny. Yeah, is it the tab group doesn't work? It's funny. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. We'll back into it over the week. We'll see what happens with the Mixamo issues. If I spend a bit of time on it and we don't get anywhere, then that might be the end of it. The end of the solution. But we'll see if I can. I might have to really just go through the asset library and see like what's actually happening with. Because it's probably going to be something stupid, like an option on async itself. Yeah, not letting us actually. That should not be a thing. Okay. Ending it here on YouTube.